All right, welcome to My Line of Work. Here we dive deep into the world of work, what people do, why they do it, and how they got here. From dream jobs to unexpected paths, every story matters and every career has a story worth sharing. So today our special guest is Robert Lewis. Thank you so much for being here. Go ahead and tell everybody what you do.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
And I'm a little nervous, but I'm with family, right? So I don't have to be afraid. But
Yeah.
I am a loan officer.
Okay.
And so that's what I do on a daily basis. And I'm sure we'll delve into that a little bit more. But
Sure.
just from a 10,000 foot view,
Yeah.
Robert Lewis, your resident online mortgage lender, NMLS license number 180-100. There you
Hey,
go.
you ready?
That's what I do. Yeah.
All right, so loan officer. So what does that mean day to day? How'd you get into that? Whichever one. Go ahead.
So I'll take it back a little bit, excuse me, and give you a little history, and then we'll get into what a loan officer does.
Sure.
Because it's really a lot, and a lot of people don't realize it. But
Okay.
take you back to 1999.
All right.
All right. Graduating college, didn't know what to do, what I was going to do.
Yeah.
My last semester, I got an internship with a company called Norwest Financial.
Okay.
Okay. And so I was just happy to have a job.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people really do, right?
Yeah.
Especially coming out of school and things of that nature. As an aside, my daughter, even to this day,
Sure.
University of Texas, San Antonio, computer science / cybersecurity. And just the other day, she's like, Dad, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Right. So we all get that. I was there.
Yeah.
Get the job with Norwest, and I was introduced to the world of money lending.
Okay.
Okay. And so that short 6 months there, man, kind of put a hook in my mouth because I was just so surprised at, how money really worked.
Okay.
And a part of the company we used to do at that company, we used to do refinance loans.
Okay.
Where you, in essence, help people take the equity out of their home and they can use it for various reasons. So I was just blown away.
Yeah.
Never knew of that concept.
Yeah.
And so that was my foray into what I'm doing today. Fast forward a little bit, that internship turned into my first job.
Okay.
They, early 2000, they merged with Wells Fargo. Okay. I was in a management program, long and short, got to be branch manager, lived in the Austin area. They told me, we need you to go out on a special project just for a couple of months. If you're watching and you have a corporate job and they tell you that, that's the setup. Let me tell you what the setup was. They sent me to Killeen, Texas.
Yeah.
And forgot me.
Oh, wow.
2 years later, that short stint, I'm in Killeen, Texas.
Wow.
But running branch there and things of that nature. And again, learning more and more and more about consumer finance. And again, we're just really doing refinances. So one of the gentlemen that I managed, he just quit out of the blue one day.
Yeah.
And we were making good money at that time. So that sent my spidey senses off, right? Because he was actually moving to San Antonio.
Okay.
And I was like, man, what are you doing? This is a good gig. Yeah. And he's like, well, I'm going to be a broker.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, what's a broker?
Yeah.
And so in essence, it's what we do now. At that time, you didn't have to be licensed.
Yeah.
And so this is what got me. He was like, yeah, I made $30,000 last month.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow.
So the other spidey sense went off.
Yeah.
Right? Never been the smartest, but not the dumbest either, right? Because I'm like, okay, well, how did you do that? He's like, well, basically what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's what started the path that I'm really on now. Because again, at that time, because of all of the college education and the experience that we had, did not have to be licensed. It was a year or so after that where the state started requiring the licensing for folks doing that type of work. You got a question?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I was grandfathered in because of my experience.
Yeah.
And so from there, I met a gentleman, and because you had to have, it's somewhat like an apprenticeship.
Okay.
You had to have somebody over your sponsors your license. And I told him, just like I'm speaking to you, I said, look, His name was Greg.
Yeah.
Not gonna be here long, Greg.
Yeah.
I'm here to learn the business.
Yeah.
While I'm here, I'm gonna make you a lot of money. But as soon as
Yeah.
I get what I need to be on my own, I'm
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah.
And so again, this is 2000. I skipped some time, but basically 2003 is when I went out and I started my own brokerage shop.
Okay.
Okay. So from 99 to 2003, pretty much it.
Yeah.
So at that time, I'm still working for Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
And that was coming to an end. I've never been a corporate guy,
Yeah.
right? Wearing suits every day. I know that blows your mind because you know me.
Yeah.
But that's why I hate them. I hated them then, but suited and booted every day.
Yeah.
And can we talk?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was married now
Okay.
and talking to Stacy. I'm like, man, I'm tired of, tired of this. I want to do something new. So I thought I wanted to go to the Dallas area.
Okay.
The Lord had something else in plan.
Yeah.
So long story short, check this out. One of my bosses, who I was young man at the time, immature, didn't necessarily respect and treat him the right way.
Okay.
Didn't like him. Right?
Yeah.
But he calls me out of the blue one day because he had left and he went to Texas A&M, but he was an ag guy and thought he wanted to go to medical school and things of this nature. So he went to work for a pharmaceutical company, Behringer Ingelheim. And he calls me and I'm like, man, what you calling me? We're not cool like that, right? And he was just like, I think he would be good. So I'm a business. Computer information systems at that time, I really should have stuck with it and become an engineer because I'm really a cool nerd on the back end. So I'm like, okay, well, why me and this, that, and the third? But like I said, I think the Lord had a bigger plan for me to come to San Antonio. Fast forward, I'm a pharmaceutical rep now.
Oh, nice.
Don't know anything. And I think that's fitting to your show, right? And your origin story of your channel, what you were telling me, because a lot of folks don't know what to do. We're just looking for a paycheck. And so here I am now. I'm a pharmaceutical rep, just like that. That's the power of people.
Relationship.
And I don't know about you, but people talk. He was like, I want you to come down to Bernie, Texas, down 281. Tapatio Springs. If you don't know, you know. It's a nice spot. Keith Emery, regional manager, pull up to his crib for an interview.
Oh, nice.
I didn't go to medical school, or that's not even the tract for a pharmaceutical rep. A lot of those folks are people that didn't become doctors. Right? They have some type of medical background. So anyway, out there with Keith, you know me, I know how to talk. I'm out there all day. Right? And this is really before the internet kicked off. So Stacy calls me. We got the old cell phones, right?
The flip.
Satellite. Where are you at? I'm kicking it with the new homie, Mr. Emery. And so before I left, man, he was like, we're going to offer you the position.
Nice.
Let me pause again, bro. Now this is 2003. I'm sorry, 2003. This is an $80,000 a year salary. Free vehicle. Bonuses. All of that. Ended up, my best year was well over 6 figures with them. But again, just blows my mind because obviously I needed to be in this area. Okay. So on the way back home, he was like, okay, we're gonna start you the following week. But then he calls me on the way back. And this is another funny connection because at the time I used to always listen to AM radio. This is prior to podcast. I'm a podcast guy. Guess who I was listening to?
Oh,
Dave Ramsey.
Nice. 550.
You see what I'm saying? 558. Look, give me a pound. You used to listen to it too. You're a young chap. You're younger than I am. Got you by 10 years.
In my truck.
5:50 a.m. Dave. So again, always on that education, learning type thing. Never stop doing the brokerage thing though. So still doing loans and things of that nature. So anywho, I got a little sidetracked there, but I'll bring it back in. We come here to San Antonio. This is prior to 2008,
Okay.
the housing crash that everybody always alludes to now.
Yeah.
And so, 3 to 8, Beringer Ingelheim,
Mm-hmm.
getting the money,
Yeah.
and RL Idell Mortgage,
Yeah.
getting the money
Yeah.
on both ends.
Yeah.
So much so, and this is another lesson, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so, anywho, I should have kept the pharmaceutical job until they ran me off.
Okay.
Because all I'm doing is riding around in suits, feeding people.
Yeah.
Go see the doctor for 2 seconds, hand them some samples. Easy money.
Yeah.
But back to who I am as a person, more of an entrepreneur, and always wanting to have a direction, right?
Yeah.
The pharmaceutical thing was just too abstract.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I'm away from my family, because the money, I'm doing really good over here. Had a couple of employees at the time. So anyway, left that. Soon thereafter, here comes the meltdown because of all of the exotic loans that were going on, which were basically adjustable rate mortgages.
Yeah.
And I want to say to the camera, everybody wasn't hoodwinked and bamboozled. A lot of people took those things and then want to cry victim on the back end. But anyway, it hit, the stuff hit the fan, crashed. Yeah. And so now I'm not with the pharmaceutical company anymore. Got a family, 2 kids, a dog. Yeah. Right? And the business starts doing this. Off a cliff. Yeah. So from 8 to 13 was a struggle. But anywho, let me hush. I've been going off on
No, it's good. I think one of the trends I'm starting to see as I interview people is, one, what they do now isn't what they originally intended to do. And 2, opportunity and relationships played a big role. I interviewed a pharmacist, and his was just opportunity. His was, he had a teacher in high school. He really liked biology and chemistry. And his teacher was like, hey, have you ever thought about going to college? And he's like, no, never thought about that. And so his teacher helped him, go to college. And then in college, he had an opportunity to get an internship. He got that. And it just, opportunity after opportunity. And he took it. He was just like, why not? Right. And so I think I see that similar in your story, right? Like where, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, but, oh, hey, there's this opportunity. Oh, hey, there's this opportunity. Right. My story's similar, right? What I do now is just through building relationships and through opportunity. So what did you study in college to get?
So business, that's the overall. Okay. And I actually have a master's degree. Okay. And I'm not here to poo-poo on education. Yeah. But it was just something to do. Yeah. Right? Okay. So business. Yeah. And what I should have done, another lesson, was really get into engineering, computer science. Yeah. But I was intimidated. Oh, okay. And that's another lesson too, man. It's very important to see people that look like you. Yeah. Doing what you want to do. Yeah. For whoever that's for. Yeah. Because sometimes it encourages you. Yeah. Because anything worth having is difficult. Yep. But that's what it was. So business overall, okay. And then I had a concentration in computer information systems. At that time, it was more networking, more hardware. Yeah, yeah. More so software now. Yeah. And again, even today, one of the things that I'm teaching myself now that I should have learned 20 years ago is programming. Yeah. Because I think that's where the world is going. Yeah. Oh yeah, everything's software now. Yeah. Okay, so did I answer the question or no? Yeah. You study business. Okay. Because I can ramble, man. No, you're good. You told me to be myself. That's the only way I know how to be. Yeah, it's just a conversation. Okay. And so, so someone that doesn't want to, just wants a direct path to being what you do. What does that look like? Because you say now you have to have a license. Yes. Okay. So what does that look like? So excellent question, and you can cut all the fluff. There's several schools like Champion School of Real Estate here in Texas. Yeah. I'm sure there are different schools around the country. Yeah. But they offer the licensing requirements as far as the education and help you take the test to become licensed. Yeah. but that's just a license.
Yeah.
And so that answers that question. That's how
Yeah.
someone would get to the door where the door is open.
Yeah.
But once you get in the door, one of the things that I will say, because I work with Wells Fargo, that's one of the reasons I'm such an excellent loan officer today.
Okay.
You might think different. I think so myself, but others have agreed with me.
Yeah.
Because at that time, we were still analog.
Yeah.
Today, there's a lot of technology and apps and things of that nature. So a lot of folks coming in didn't have to learn.
Okay. Didn't go through that
from the foundation.
Process. Yeah.
So it's more of a sales type job. So to answer your question, go to those places, get the license to get in. But if you do decide to do this, I would implore anyone to, the skill reading.
Yeah.
Very necessary.
Okay.
Yeah. Readers are leaders.
Yeah.
That's never going away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another guy said, the more you learn, the more you earn. Because, I told him readers are leaders. And he said, the more you learn, the more you earn.
You guys are going back and forth.
Yeah. And then, so how long?
Fortune's in the follow-up.
Oh, there you go.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How long does that certification take?
It's really, it's a matter of hours. You have to have a certain amount of hours.
Okay.
But you can knock it out in a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That quick.
Again,
it's just
it's just the requirement and the bar is somewhat low.
Okay.
Right. Back in the day, or on the real estate side, you used to be able to circumvent that if you had a 4-year degree and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really just a bar, a litmus test to kind of weed out some people.
Okay.
It's not anything that if you want to do it, you couldn't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's really self-paced.
Yeah.
And you got to get the 20 hours in.
Yeah.
And pass the test.
Wow. That's simple.
Mm-hmm.
And is there what was I going to ask you? So once you have that license, as part of the testing or prep, you mentioned Champion School of Real Estate. Is there any training that they give you to start your business?
No.
They just, here's your license and you're on your own.
And you either are going to go work for what I would call a captive situation. Either, say if you went to work for the bank. Okay. You really don't have to be licensed. Okay. Because you're under their federal charter, and they're tasked with giving you the professional continuing education that one would have to have as far as bank rules and how to disclose and deal with people and things of that nature. But if you go the other route and become or gain your own license, then you're somewhat of a free agent. You can go work for other or different entities. Okay. Right.
Well, let's talk about that. Because I was, for some reason, operating under the assumption that you get loan officers are kind of like on their own.
They are.
So because you mentioned working for a bank. So if I get the license to be a loan officer, what opportunities do I have? Like, where can I work? Who can I work for? Or is it I start my own company, or what are those options?
All of the above.
Okay.
So I'll start with, if you work for a bank, they're going to make you put your license in an active status. Okay. Right? Yeah. And you just got to think about that for a minute, right? Yeah. Now, you also can go and start your own company as a broker. Okay. Okay. And you would sign up with different wholesalers. And these are just different companies that the average person may have never heard of. Yeah. Right? But they offer a line of credit. You go out and originate the business, and you close said loan based upon FHA, VA, USDA, or conventional guidelines. Yeah. And then you package the servicing and sell it to those folks. Okay. So what most banks have done, Louis, is they've outsourced that function. Because as a business owner, one of your most expensive expenditures are employees. Yeah. And if you've ever dealt with a bank, or anybody in your audience has ever dealt with a bank as far as mortgage loans are concerned, you know you've had a horrible experience. Yeah. Right? So they've outsourced that function to folks like us. Okay. So broker, and then this current situation I'm in now, I'm in a hybrid situation where I have a federal charter that I partner with, American Mortgage Bank, that allows me to lend in all 50 states. Yeah. and I'm able to broker as well.
Okay.
But if I don't bring the loan in the door,
Yeah.
I don't eat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things. So either if you don't want to become licensed and you want to go work for a bank, the benefit is the customers are coming in
Yeah.
and they're going to give you a fraction of that,
Yeah.
opposed to you doing it yourself.
Okay.
You kill what
Cool.
you eat.
Yeah.
That's another
There you go.
one.
Yeah. It's similar to what I do, home inspections.
Yes.
Because it's same, the process. They give you a year once you sign up to pass the test.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can either start your own company or you can work for someone. But like you said, if you work for someone, you're getting, a percentage. If you work for yourself, you are in charge of everything, finding the work, but you keep all the money, right?
Right.
So pros and cons.
Yeah.
What does a typical day in your career look like?
Excellent question. And I'll go from where I am now because I have employees.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm more of a rainmaker.
Okay.
So a lot of marketing,
Mm-hmm.
YouTube videos, social media.
Yeah.
And then I do a lot of calling
Mm-hmm.
with my database to stay in contact.
Yeah.
And out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
But doing a lot of relationship building.
Yeah.
For the time that an opportunity presents itself to that person,
Yeah.
I'm the one that they think about.
Yeah.
So do that for about 2 hours a day. I still read a lot of guidelines
Mm-hmm.
for different programs.
Yeah.
Because that's where the money is.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so and then I probably work 5 hours a day.
Okay.
Now, when I was more so younger in the business, a lot of meeting with realtors.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the folks that have the closest relationship to the end customer for myself.
Okay.
Most people, for whatever reason, they think they have to go see a realtor first.
Yeah.
Right. Probably won't change that for any time soon. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of building those relationships and things of that nature and finding out what it was that I needed to help that person with so that ultimately I could get that lead.
Yeah.
But things have changed now and I'm glad. Yeah.
And so are you, well, obviously you're able to work from home.
Yeah.
Is there any benefit to having an office or? Probably not now.
I'm different.
Yeah.
Because I've been blessed to see the whole nine.
Okay.
Like you said, 20 years ago, you didn't know me then, but I was your typical every day with a suit.
Yeah.
Going to an office.
Okay.
And that's the time that we were in.
Yeah.
Millennials now, largest cohort since baby boomers.
Okay.
Baby boomers aren't running it anymore.
Yeah.
That was their era.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll answer the question this way. I think it's for certain people.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on your clientele. If you were super, super high end in certain price points, they expect a certain pomp and circumstance.
Okay.
A certain show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But, nothing wrong with having brick and mortar. But for myself as a business owner, it was refreshing from 2015 when I didn't have $30,000 that I had to make sure I came up with on a lease.
Okay.
Right? You're a business owner.
Yeah.
And then I have these employees that say they want a job.
Yeah.
But they ain't employing. All the pressure's on me.
Okay.
So to me, it's a benefit to have the autonomy to work from wherever.
Yeah.
And really the technology that allows us to do it is the internet. Yeah. The fourth revolution.
Yeah.
Right? That people need to get on.
Yeah.
And so what the pandemic has done, in my opinion, it passed the baton from the folks that used to run how you needed to conduct business over to you all. Yeah. And again, as long as you present yourself professionally, because if it's in you, it's in you. Yeah. And you guys are experts at finding frauds. Right. So the trust that I'm able to build and things of that nature hadn't affected it. But hopefully that answers the question. Just depends on what you're doing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No,
that's good. Yeah. And so are there pros and cons to your work? What are kind of some, I love this about my job and, this area could use improvement or how's that?
Yes. I care too much.
Okay.
And that's a fault of my own.
Yeah.
And because of that, the con is I can invest a lot of time in somebody and then they go
Mhm.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
And we've worked on that a couple of ways, and we're
Yeah.
getting better
Yeah.
at making sure we're compensated
Yeah.
because everything I do is up front.
Mhm.
And I mean, you've been around. I think you've experienced what we do.
Yeah.
And so just had it happen recently.
Oh, okay.
But now, and I'll end this here. Now I'm in a position
Yeah.
that I told the realtor that you're fired
Oh.
because
Yeah.
that's about the fourth person that you sent, and they sent them our way because they know how responsive we are.
Yeah.
But ultimately, they're going to bring them to a builder,
Okay.
and the builder might take 75 years to get back with the customer, but they want to know if they're approved and all those things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's the downside. Other than that, man, I love it. I love it.
Okay.
Love
Yeah.
it.
You love it. That's
Love
good,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And what you talked about earlier about COVID,
Mm-hmm.
other than, being able to work from home and the flexibility and,
Mm-hmm.
are there other changes? I know COVID was a good time for real estate. And then now it's kind of slowed down and kind of what's happening
And
now.
it's a good thing.
Yeah.
That aspect weeds out
Mm-hmm.
the car salesman
Yeah.
because we need professionals.
Yeah.
This is something that this might be the largest financial transaction people get into in their lives.
Yeah.
So you don't, I like the higher interest rates.
Yeah.
Because we get rid of the folks that don't need to be here.
Yeah.
The question is for those of your listeners that might be listening and trying to put something together in business in general.
Yeah.
In the words of New Edition, can you stand the rain? You like that?
Yeah.
This is gonna be your best episode, by the way. I'm just cool like that, y'all. I woke up this morning. But can you stand the rain, right? Because it's going to rain.
Yeah.
And so in business, you have to make sure you have the ability to deal with the cycles.
Yeah.
Because they're coming.
Yeah.
So now that aspect is good. To your point, in 2003, when I first got into this,
Yeah.
I was trying to do what we're doing today,
Okay.
technologically wise.
Yeah.
In 2015, I got rid of my last paper files that I had to keep because you had to keep them for a 7-year period.
Yeah.
Per the state requirement. And a loan file used to be this much paper, man.
Wow.
And this is a clean loan. This is folks like you. Clean.
That's just one.
So
Wow.
I had a storage.
Yeah.
So just think of all the trees and things of that nature. So paperless is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I don't think it will ever happen because we have everything in place to where, folks are talking about affordability now.
Yeah.
Think about title company fees and things of that nature. Why they keep getting that money, man?
Yeah.
But that's another podcast.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is folks embrace the technology.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're right about, because even in our industry, there was agents and inspectors that just, COVID was easy money. It was just.
I'm an inspector today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now where are they?
Yeah. Now where are they? The agents and the inspectors and just the whole real estate industry.
Right.
I like what you said, that we need professionals. All right. I think that's one thing in my culture, right? The Hispanic culture. I think there's a lot of, I don't know if it's a mentality. I don't know what it is where like, oh, I'll do it. Right. Or you either I'll do it or I'm looking for the cheapest. I'm looking for the, or do I have a friend or right? As opposed to what I'm starting to learn. And one thing my dad taught me, in Spanish, it says, lo barato sale caro. Right?
Como
like
se dice? En inglés.
the cheap option ends up costing you more, basically.
That's
right?
why I love your dad. Man.
You don't
He's
go
OG.
Yeah, you don't go the cheap route because you're gonna end up paying someone to fix it, redo it, get it done right. And so that's something we've learned in our line of work. Is I'm like you, right? I just have a big heart. And so when people would ask for discounts and trying to get the cheapest rate, my mentality was like, yeah, I'll do it, And then my wife was like, no, like we have to have a standard, right? Um, and so she's better at, locking in those higher rates. And then she tells people, right? Like we have a certain quality. And so, this is what you're paying for. You're paying for a certain quality, a certain experience, right? I've been doing this for a long time. The services that we offer, not everyone offers. The professionalism you're going to get with us comes at a cost, right? And so I like that you said that we need professionals, right? And this is what it's about, right? Whatever you do, that's one thing my brother told me coming out of. So like you alluded to earlier, like seeing people, in the spaces that you want to do. My brother's an electrical engineer. I wanted to do that only because I wanted to be everything, whatever my brother did, I wanted to do it.
That's awesome.
Well, I had the opportunity to get my school completely paid for, but I had to go through to education, bilingual education. And my brother was like, yeah, do it. And then just be the best teacher, right? Like whatever you do, just be the best at it. And so I think anything, any line of work you're in, like that should be the mentality, right? Whatever I do, I'm going to be the best at it. And so I like that. I like that you mentioned that about we need professionals. So what trends post-COVID do you see in the real estate area?
More consolidation.
Okay.
Meaning, look at your Zillows, your Redfins, these online companies. If you really start paying attention, now they're offering loan services, real estate services, title company services, and so same thing with us, right? I don't think you can make this a commodity 100% because there's too many moving parts. Just to do a loan, just with our process, right? 1,800 steps.
1,800
steps. You don't feel that.
No.
That's that professionalism you just alluded to. Right? And like yourself, thank God for wives. And daughters now. Because my daughter's no. We doing this. Because I got a big heart. And just minorities in general, especially because you second generation. I'm really the first one. I'm the baby of my family, but I've gone farther than anybody. And so all of those things that make us great could be a hindrance. The lesson is teamwork makes the dream work. So if you don't have a skill, back to me, because I'll try to do everything. Right? Aces in their places. And start from your family if you can. Dropping jewels. If you can. Right? Then you go outside. But back to your question, the consolidation is coming. And so you have to figure out how to do that in whatever line of work that you're in to provide the most value for your client. And when you solve the most problems, the way your client wants them solved, you'll never be irrelevant. So it's a cleansing going on with that as well. No more stealing. You got to provide. You got to produce.
You got to provide value.
Did that answer the question?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, cool.
And then I had a conversation with a friend of mine that was looking to buy a house. And from my perspective, like this is when interest rates were, kind of climbing. And I want to get your take on this. This is what I told him. I said, but from my perspective, it's always better to buy the house sooner than later, right? And I gave him 2 reasons, right? I said, if you wait for interest rates to go down, I was like, the house, because of inflation, more than likely will be more expensive, right? I go, so if you buy the house now at a higher interest rate, barring you can afford it, right? Like you've got to run the numbers. I'm not saying to do irresponsible things, but you can afford it, if you can afford the cost, the monthly payment at that interest rate, at that cost of the house, let's run two scenarios. You keep going and interest rates go up even further, then you got a good deal. I was like, or in the other scenario, because he was worried about specifically interest rates. If the interest rates go down, then you can refinance. I go, but either way, you're getting in at a lower cost. Most likely, right? If, in most case scenarios, houses go up in price, not down, right? There's there's corrections and things, but I don't know. Is that good advice to tell him buy the house now? Either you're getting a good deal because the interest rate's going to go up, or you can refinance when it goes down.
Excellent advice.
Yeah.
In combination with what you said,
sure.
The assumption is they can afford it.
Yeah.
So now, once you can afford it, you cannot catch a falling knife.
Mm-hmm.
And so psychologically, that's the way we all are. Really, to your point, not just inflation, but when rates came down, supply and demand, competition.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because what people don't realize, going back to what I alluded to earlier, I went through that cycle.
Yeah.
I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
That means something.
Yeah.
What it means is I learned through that pain. And what happened at that time, there was a surplus of homes.
Mm-hmm.
So basic supply and demand.
Yeah.
We don't have enough homes now.
Mm-hmm.
Millennials are the largest cohorts other than the baby boomers.
Yeah.
So for those that can, it's psychological. I'm dealing with it as well, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned it earlier. A recurring word in this conversation is opportunity.
Yeah.
So if you have the opportunity to get on the property ladder,
mm-hmm.
say you had that opportunity prior to the pandemic. We didn't know the pandemic was coming.
Yeah.
But if you were on the ladder and you got a 2% interest rate.
Yeah.
If you weren't on the ladder, you couldn't buy because now you're crying about either I can't find a house because the competition is through the roof.
Yeah.
Right? Or it costs too much.
Mm-hmm.
So you're always excellent advice.
Yeah.
And if I could add just a little bit more,
sure.
Do you need a house?
Yeah.
Those are the things that should dictate.
Yeah.
Stop using the house or looking at the house as an investment.
Yeah.
Get a financial planner, put some money in the market, things of that nature.
Yeah.
The purpose of a home is to provide stability for your family.
Yeah.
Those are the types of things that should override the financial benefits that we might derive.
Yeah.
Because I went through when in Texas, very rare, the house prices were stagnant. They didn't really go down because of the way we have things structured.
Yeah.
But we didn't get that spike. Traditionally, you're going to get 3 to 5% a year.
Mm-hmm.
This is not an investment vehicle.
Yeah.
It is over time.
Yeah.
All investments are over time.
Yeah.
So we just got to start changing the narrative. So you hit it right on the head. Get on the ladder, man.
Yeah.
And when opportunity presents itself, take advantage of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, we got to do this a little bit more. I'm getting comfortable, man. You better shut me down.
No, you're good. No, that happened to us actually. When you helped us buy our house in 2009, it just worked out for us.
Look,
we bought at the bottom.
Do you regret it?
No. Do
you remember when you bought? Were you nervous?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, just because it's buying a house.
It was a big number.
Yeah.
But what did the old man tell you? You'll be all right.
Yeah.
Are you all right?
Yeah. And the interest rate, and actually we bought high. Yeah. The interest rate was, I think ours was like 6% or
almost
close
7.
to that. Yeah. And then we ended up refinancing down to 2%. Yeah. And we paid it off. And our payment didn't go up because the interest rate difference was, it went up like $80. And then the taxes climbed a little bit, but I mean,
how many meals did you miss?
Oh, no. None.
Did the lights turn on every time you went?
Every time.
These are the things, and I'm being, you got to put a little fun in the medicine.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we overthink it.
Yeah.
From my line of work to what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
You hit it on, you got to take, you told me the last time we were together and I was, but I listened.
Yeah.
And you were like, baby steps.
Yeah.
And that just like went over everything I was saying.
Yeah.
You gotta get in it, man.
Yeah. Have you heard that quote? How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a
One bite
time.
at a time. Yeah.
One bite at a time.
There's a really good Shel Silverstein poem that talks about that. It's
pretty good.
Look it up. It's a really good poem.
Say it again.
Shel Silverstein or Silverstein. I don't know which one it is. He's my favorite author.
Gotcha.
I discovered him in college because I took a children's literature for my education degree.
Yeah.
And his poetry is insane. It's just very creative.
Because he's talking to the babies, man.
Oh man, it's so good.
Yeah.
But it's also, if you read it from an adult perspective, it's just very profound, right? Like what you can gather from it.
Yeah.
There was one I used to have memorized. It was a frame, and it was just a blank frame, right? And it talked about, here we have an invisible house eating a piece of invisible cheese, living inside of his invisible house. It was really cool. Like, it's just, right?
I see your face lighting up.
It was super cool. It was so cool. But no, same thing, right? When I talk about like doing something difficult, right? It's just, I always tell myself that, like, baby steps, right? Like one step at a time. Just, I think in all things that are difficult, you can break them down to, okay, well, what's next, right? What can I do to improve a little bit? When it comes to your health, when it comes to working out, when it comes to eating right, when it comes to starting a business, when it comes to starting a YouTube channel, becoming an engineer, whatever, right? It's just like, okay, well, this is where I am. I want to be there. Yeah. Like, okay, well, let's.
Dr. Lewis in the house.
Let's walk. Let's walk towards that, right?
I'm about to pay you some money, man. Counseling session.
So someone, because you're at a point now, and I was very surprised to hear the how easy it is to get a license to do what you do. I don't know why I assumed it's like this big grand thing. Maybe because I see you do what you do, I just assume like there's a difficult path to get there. But okay, so what advice would you give someone that is starting off, right? I want to, be a loan officer. I'm starting off. I have my license, right? Because like you mentioned, that's the easy part. Now what?
Depending on the type of person you are, if you're an employee, go work for a bank.
Okay.
Because you don't have to kill anything.
Yeah.
Meaning the customers, you have a captive audience.
Yeah.
Because of the structure and the bank accounts and things of that nature.
Yeah.
If you're more like myself, us, it's not even really about the organization that you're going to. What I would say is this: niche, however you say it.
Yeah.
Go deep.
Okay.
One thing at a time.
Yeah.
Right? Learn the ins and outs. Become the expert. Down payment assistance pro. The more granular you can get, then from there, that's where the confidence comes from. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then now, because they've moved the cheese, the barrier to entry is low.
Yeah.
YouTube, TikTok, whatever platform.
Yeah.
Learn that platform. Okay. And understand it's a marathon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I appreciate what you're saying, but I have 20 years.
Yeah.
Business banking.
Yeah.
I don't speak a lot, but those that know, and just some of the stuff, taxes, investing, these are things that I have in my wheelhouse that come out from a loan standpoint, because it's not just a loan with me.
Yeah.
I am able to shine a light on different aspects of getting a home loan that most don't.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion. So, but to that person starting out, niche, if you're an employee, that's fine. Go to the bank, become an expert at one thing.
Yeah.
then go to the next. I said this way, the way I teach my kids, build a bridge.
Yeah.
Then you could put people on that bridge to work for you and things like that. Then go build another bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Today it's very easy because a lot of this stuff, man, you're old enough to remember a phone book.
Mm-hmm.
Used to be different, man.
Yeah.
What you're doing,
Yeah.
you would have to pay thousands of dollars
Yeah.
to get it on the airwaves.
Yeah.
Wasn't too long ago. So because of those things, that's really it. So the license is the easy part.
Yeah.
Then what I'm basically saying as I wrap it up, you have to know yourself.
Yeah.
We spend so much time, Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, Mr. Stein that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
You got to know yourself.
Yeah.
We don't spend enough time, meaning what do I like and what do I not like? And for the younger folks, that's very important.
Yeah.
If I could go back, that's what I try to do with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like?
Yeah.
Because it's a marathon.
Yeah.
And so once I know what I do and don't, or what my skills are,
Yeah.
the rest of the stuff's going to present itself.
Yeah. I like that. I heard a quote that said, if your son is really good at tennis and failing math, hire a tennis coach, not a math tutor. And I was like, yeah, I like that.
That makes sense, huh?
Yeah, like you're feeding his strengths.
Yeah.
Like you're good at this.
Right.
Like, you can hire an accountant.
Yeah.
Once you're making millions playing tennis.
if you get there. Right. But math we're gonna use every day.
Yeah. No, and I agree. There's a level of fun, like, there's fundamentals, right? Like, I think, a level of budgeting helps everyone, right?
Yes, sir.
Addition, subtraction, multiplication, right? But then there's a level of math beyond, I don't know what grade, that most people won't use, right?
Look at your brother.
Yeah.
He's never gonna have to worry about making money. Because he's reached that level.
Yeah.
That most of us, it's too hard.
Yeah.
And it's something about when you're younger, we waste a lot of time doing a lot of things that aren't going to have a great return.
Yeah.
I could stay up all night when I was 20.
Yeah.
So again, what you were saying, the origin, the impetus of you starting this, want to speak to the younger folks.
Yeah.
Waste a lot of time, man. Between 13 and 25.
Yeah. Have you read that book, The Defining Decade?
No, sir.
Oh, you got to check that book out. No, I don't want to ruin it for you. You should still read it. Basically, the author says that a lot of young people are saying that 30 is the new 20. And her argument is that they're wasting their 20s. Trying to start their life in their 30s. And saying the defining decade is your 20s. If you can build the right relationships, if you can start your career, then you'll basically reap the benefits in your 30s, 40s, 50s of what the work you do in your 20s.
Yes, sir.
It's a really good book. I've actually bought like 4 or 5 copies and then I give it away. And I don't have one because I give it away. I tell people, like, you need it, whether it's a parent or whether it's,
what's the author's name again?
I don't know the author's name, but the book is called The Defining Decade.
Whoever you are, send them some books.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an awesome gift.
Yeah.
Because it's the truth.
Yeah, I've given at least 5 of them away and I need to buy more. It's such a great concept, right? It's such a good idea. And a trend that she found, saying like these young people are wasting their 20s and then they wake up in their 30 and they're like
playing catch up.
Yeah. Now I want a family. Now I want to start having and it's sad, but even women are like, now I want to start having children. And it's like, you can't just turn that on.
You a little tired at 30. There's a time in the season. And when I do these things, because I don't want to offend anybody, but it's in me.
Yeah.
But to paraphrase the scriptures, right?
Yeah,
there's a time and a season for everything under the sun. And we get that mixed up.
Yeah.
In my community, big time.
Okay.
I see a lot of folks, man, 40, and they get that old snap.
Yeah.
You wasted 20 years. Back to the property.
Yeah.
right? I remember you, man.
Yeah.
That house is a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
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 You see?
Yeah.
But you listen to your brother.
Yeah.
Mom and dad need to write a book.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about your folks.
Yeah.
I'm real talk, bro.
Yeah.
I use them all the time as a case study. Y'all got a beautiful family.
Yeah. Thank you.
See?
Uh-huh.
But see, we gonna make them pay for that. That's called a teaser. Maybe he'll let y'all in on that one day and let.
If he lets me, I do want to interview my dad.
Yeah.
I
know him. I got access.
Yeah, I do want to interview him.
Yeah.
I would just have to get AI to translate.
Yeah. I was with him the other day. He was like, we were talking about texting. Robert, you too? I said, yeah, Pops. I text like this, click, click. I said, by the time I hit the third one, my phone is going bing, 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 bing. Because I said, call me. He's like, you said he was telling your mom, call me. Yeah. I'm like, call me. No, I don't want to talk. You talk too loud. Yeah. Anyway, I digress.
It's funny with my kids. I'll tell them, hey, call your mom and whatever. We're in the car and I need to communicate something to my wife. I'm like, hey, call your mom something. And then my daughter starts texting. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, calling call her. Your mom.
Man, Michaela's like, I was watching her one day. I'm like, my goodness. I mean, because she can type too. Yeah. But this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, man, we need a Olympic team.
Yeah.
You can make the team.
And then the other thing they do, which I find funny, they make fun of me because my son says that I send paragraphs. It's like 3 sentences.
Oh, it's 3 sentences.
Yeah. And he's like, he'll send like 3 words and and then the next 3 he'll send it in like 5 different texts.
They're on a different
it's one idea, it's one thought. And even the question mark, if he's asking you a question, the question mark is separate.
It's like code.
Yeah.
They're on a different algorithm.
I just send everything question mark. And he's like, that's an email. That's a whole paragraph.
Yeah. They're on a different algorithm, man. Yeah. And so what I've learned, this is another thing to folks that want to be not just successful business people.
Yeah.
Right? You have to adapt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's one thing. I sit back, even contemplating coming over here.
Yeah.
And excellent questions because it make you think.
Yeah.
But I adapt, man.
Yeah.
I can get in with the young folks.
Yeah.
And not be corny because I'm not trying to be young.
Yeah.
I can relate enough.
Yeah.
All the way up to the centennials.
Yeah.
That's a skill.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, being able to connect, intergenerationally.
Thank you.
Your story reminds me of when I taught. So I was teaching 4th grade, and I got moved to kindergarten. I had never done kindergarten, and I literally asked myself, like, how am I going? I'm prepping, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how am I going to teach these kids how to read, right? Because I had done 4th grade. Every kid that came to me already knew how to read, already knew basic arithmetic, right? And so I'm just building on these skills.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm like, man, in college, I have a degree in bilingual education. I took a children's literacy class, but they didn't teach me how to teach someone how to read. I'm like, man, how am I going to do this? Thankfully, I met a friend, and he kind of walked me through that process. But one thing I learned is, well, now looking back now, I'm like, okay, you don't, because the way we read is our brain chunks the letters, right? Have you ever seen that paragraph where the first letter and the last letter are in the correct order, and then the middle of the word is all jumbled, and you can still read it?
No.
Okay. Well, there's a paragraph. There's a paragraph out there. You can look it up, where all the words are misspelled, but the first letter and the last letter are incorrect.
And your brain figures it out.
And your brain, because your brain chunks, right? Whenever you read, you don't sound things out. You just read, right? But you have to train your brain to chunk words, right? So
So it's
what
a
I did,
system.
yeah. So what I
Wow.
did as an element, what I did in kindergarten was, okay, well, first they've got to be able to produce the sound, which is a phoneme, right? But you teach them beginning letter sounds. Have you ever seen the cat, bat, rat, right? So you give them it's called onset and rhyme. You give them the same ending
Mhm.
at, and then they have to, if I put C, what is this? Cat. If I put B, it's bat. If I put M, it's mat, right? So you're teaching them beginning letter sounds. And then you teach ending letter sounds. Okay, now I'm going to take away the ending sound, and can you complete it? And then you start into syllables, right? 2 syllables and then more. And it just,
You're building.
all of that to say, I'm, and the kids don't know this, but they're training their brain to chunk,
Mm.
right? And then eventually, by the end of kindergarten, they're reading, right?
Wow.
And then in first grade, it's just about, okay, can you do that faster? Fluency, like, okay, now we got to be able to read faster. And then second grade, a little bit more of that. And then third grade, it flips. Okay, now kinder through second, we learn to read. Now we're going to read to learn,
Wow.
right? Now it's about comprehension. Now it's about, okay, can you tell me what you read?
The discourse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your story reminds me of that. Your story was, okay, I'm here,
Mm.
but everything I'm able to do here is because I did this and this and this and that, right? I learned along the way all these skills, right? So that's kind of the advice that I got, right? Where you're like, go deep. You're telling these kids like, yeah, it's easy to get the license, but now you got to become an expert. Now you got to
Excellent.
find your niche. Now you got to find your strength. How can you create value, right? And so I love that, man. I learned a lot.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You got something going on here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Awesome.
I don't know any closing statements, anything that you want to share?
I just want to say thank you
Yeah, of
for the
course.
opportunity. And I have a question for you.
Sure.
What is your desire for this channel?
So my daughter's in 8th grade, going to 9th grade. She has to pick like a career path for high school for some reason. I never had to do that, but so we started talking about, well, what do you want to do when you grow up? And she went straight to she had gotten a knee scan,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, oh, well, that looked cool, that looked fun, right? And I, like you said earlier, she just was like, well, how can I make money and doing something I enjoy, right? But with my kids, what I want them to understand is, how can you provide value? Like, what can you provide to people, right? Like, so going back to what you mentioned Ecclesiastes earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big believer in that we're created to contribute, right? And so I want my kids, like, well, how can you contribute, right? Because you can either sell a good or provide a service, and people pay you for that, right? That's how we make money. And so I want them to understand, like, work isn't just like, I don't think it's bad to just work to provide for your family, because my parents did that, right? But if you have the opportunity to find like your like specific way that you contribute to the world,
Mm-hmm.
and be paid for that,
Mm-hmm.
like, I think there is a sense of um it's just you it's not a burden to go to work, right? And so that's what I want for my kids is, don't just find a job even if it pays well. Don't just find a job like, hey, like, this is my job and this is how I make money, but find like how you can contribute that really goes towards what you love and what you're good at. Not just, oh, I love this, so I'm going to do this, but like, how are you created to contribute? Like, how are you wired? How are you? And so thinking about my kids, I was like, well, like, all young people are like that, right? I'm still a teacher at heart. even though I don't teach, right? Like, just I was like, I just want to show the next generation what's out there, right? Because if I had a friend one time, we were driving, and he goes, "Man, look around." He's like, "In 100 years, like no one, like all of these houses are gonna be owned by someone else. Like, this house in 100 years, I'm gonna be gone. My wife's gonna be gone, and someone's gonna have this house, right?" And so, just the next generation is just, my line of work. Like, there's so many ways to make money, but to me, it's better if you actually enjoyed what you did, and if you did something that you know that you're good at and that you're passionate about, and not just collecting a paycheck. So that's kind of what I want to accomplish with this channel. Is just, second thing, you mentioned anything worth doing takes hard work. So that's the other thing I want people to see. Like, I've had since, so I have an inspection company. I've had people ask me, like, "Hey, so what does it take to be an inspector?" And I tell them the same thing. Like, it doesn't cost a lot. It's maybe like $3,000. It, within a year, most people take 3 to 5 months to complete the training. So you can become an inspector in a couple of months with minimal financial cost. But then the real work starts, right? It's like finding the work and learning and continuing to learn about houses. And so the second thing is, like, anything that you do is work. It's hard work. Everything that you do is hard work. There are, which is why I asked you earlier about the pros and cons of your work, right? Because some people might see you and think, "Oh man, I want to do what he does," and thinks like you make it look easy, right? But then it's like, okay, but you know, I've been doing this for a long time, right? Kind of like if a kindergartner were to go to a high school class and he's like, "Man, these kids are just reading. Like, they're just like reading 100 words a minute, whatever," right? Um, but for the senior to tell the kindergartner, "Well, you got to learn beginning letter sounds. You got to learn ending letter sounds. You got to learn syllables like that. That you've got to go through the process. You can't skip. You can't skip the process. Like, it doesn't help you or your customers to skip any part of the process, right? So those are kind of my goals.
My man. Gracias, hermano.
Yes, sir. No, thank you.
You making the place a better. That's why I love you, man.
Yeah.
It's about were you here?
Yeah.
Or were you just here?
Yeah. Yeah.
My man.
Yeah.
Y'all better, before you blow up. Remember, I was first season. Yeah.
So I brought you on because I've learned a lot from you.
Likewise, bro.
Yeah.
Both ways.
And so I know you've got, outside of your line of work, you just got a lot of knowledge, good heart.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being on here.
Thank you for having me.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for tuning into my line of work. If today's story inspired or intrigued you, don't forget to give this episode a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. If you have a career you're curious about, drop it in the comments below. We'd love to feature it. And hasta la próxima.